heard that one song by J. Cole? Okay, so hi. Welcome back. Change of scenery, right? I was just outside. Just I don't know, just meditating, just like being out. I was like, wow, this would be a perfect place for a video. Um you stick around to the end, like do look at how pretty this flower is. Okay, forgive me for being, I don't know, a nerd. So right now, like I'm gonna do it real fast until 12. So I wanted to wait until 12 to not make this video, but it's out, speaking to me. So this is gonna be about being kind to yourself. I don't have a script. I don't really have a template. I'm kind of just yapping, so hopefully this goes well. But to start off strong, I feel like there's like a lot of content about self-love, and it can be a little bit self-interested or egotistical. Like I feel like we, especially like in a Western context or Western society, we preach a lot about like self-love and independence at the expense of our own growth or mental health or our own connections with people, or even at the expense of other people. Like for example, I remember as somebody who, you know, is quite independent and has a lot of like high standards. So between being with somebody that I'd rather not be with versus, and I mean this platonically, romantically, professionally, whatever, versus like just being alone. And I was like that for a long time. It's even now that I'm starting to kind of like adjust, you know, Christian love, but I would say that there's a lot of preaching, like, okay, back to my example about like, oh, like you can do it, you got it, you don't need anybody, you can get it, you can, you know, get it by yourself, like, you know what I mean? And after, you know, living for almost a year in a society where it's very much based on like communal living, like people in your business or people are just around you, things that you want them to be or not, I don't think I agree with that context. Yes, it's good to have your own space. It's good to have like your own mental and kind of like an independent perception of yourself from other people. I remember I was a big Lily Singh fan back in like her 2016 days and like younger. And I remember in one of her videos, she said that friends should just be extra. They should have like pieces of candy or desserts after the meal. They shouldn't be a necessity. Like they shouldn't be the entree. And I agree with that in this. I agree with that in that sense. However, you shouldn't go through life thinking that you don't need people. Period. Because we, as human beings, you know, we crave affection, we crave attention, whatever. It's just to say that the self-love movement can be a little bit self-indulgent, or we prioritize, or self-love movement will kind of say that like you can treat people however, and you can cut people off, and you can do this and that because your self-worth or your mental health is most important at the end of the day. And again, in the day you do have to protect yourself. You should be your biggest priority. Like you shouldn't have the mentality like to give somebody your last if you don't even have it, you know. But as people, we should practice being decent human beings. Yes, you technically don't owe anybody anything, but you shouldn't act like a complete a-hole just because you want to, or just because that is the best and most perfect avenue for your mental health. I totally do that. So when I say be kind to yourself, I don't mean be kind at the expense of growing as a person. I don't mean be kind to yourself at the expense of being a good person. I don't be kind at the expense of another person's mental health, another person's feelings, another person's own being, to a certain extent. I mean be kind to yourself as in be kind to yourself. listen. I saw this one TikTok where this girl was talking about, she has a lot of like followers, young women who follow her, and she was saying that I find it, because I liked it just the other day. If I find it, I'll definitely like. But she was basically saying that like as a young woman, I feel like you need to eat. Like you shouldn't just eat because you earned it, or you shouldn't just eat because like, oh, like there's a certain caloric intake, I have to get a certain protein, like whatever. Like you should eat because it's a necessity. And I'm saying to be kind to yourself in that same context. Be kind to yourself because it's a basic necessity. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love others properly. You will hurt others. You will harm others. You won't have productive relationships. Like it's not just about you internally, it's about your literal relationship with the rest of the world. And I don't necessarily mean that being kind to yourself should always be like self-love and affirmations and listening to these sermons that are talking about like, oh my God loves you, like he's here for you, like he's going to take care of you. The best forms of love, especially from a parent, is having somebody who teaches you practical, tough love. Like if your parents were always like hugging and kissing up on you, but they never told you that like, oh, like maybe you have a hygiene problem, oh, you smell, go take a shower. Is them ignoring it in the moment? Does it seem like the nice thing to do? Sure. Because that hurts you later on? Absolutely. Or if you played a sport and you had that parent who said like, you know, you need to work harder, like you need to pay more attention when you're in the field so you can score that goal or get that position and get off the bench. Again, did it hurt to hear in the moment? Yes. But did it help you later on? Absolutely. Or if you were getting like maybe you got a B on your report card and you obviously want to hear that you've done well, but you haven't done, your parents tell you like you can do better, like reach for the stars. Did it kind of irk? Did it kind of irk you? Because they used to irk me. I used to do that. I used to be like, oh, like you did well, like you did better. I was like, why can't you just tell me that I did good? But like looking back, I really didn't need somebody to tell me, oh, like you're doing amazing. I also need somebody to tell you push or want. I just didn't want to hear it at the time. But yeah, no, the same thing to do with self-love. Sometimes you need to tell yourself that like, okay, I've been telling myself that I'm going to read this book and I haven't read it, and instead of like eating bits and chunks of each chapter, I need to have like a dedicated time to read this book, or I have to have a dedicated time to read my Bible. Or maybe it seems like gunning for like a promotion at work and you're like, I told myself that like I would be more outgoing. I try to like feel out like the interpersonal politics of the office to see what I can do to advance myself. So instead of just staying in my own corner and watching other people make moves, I'm going to literally create a smart little list or do whatever I need to do to make sure that I advance because I deserve it. Or if you're saving up for a car or a house or a certain thing, instead of telling myself that like, well, like it's not my fault that I have student loans, other people my age don't have student loans, or other people my age have other people helping them to get towards this goal. Instead of like giving yourself excuses, you're like, I need to take the time to save up towards a certain thing. Because at the end of the day, because I have been having like issues with my lawnmowers like as of late. This is just like a quick aside. I have been having like issues with my lawnmowers of late, and if it was a couple years ago, I would be so stressed out. I would be like, oh my God, like what am I going to do? Like, oh, like all this stuff is happening. Like I owe so much money. But at this point, especially after again like coming here, it's like coming like from a country and a society where people don't even have the money to go to school. Like we don't have it. You can't even go. It's like wow, like I'm so privileged and so blessed and honored to be in a position where I could even borrow money to go to school. Some people, they don't have that privilege, don't have the privilege to even get an education or have the opportunities said to come with that education. And even if I do have this like maybe like this extra stressor, I'm so happy, I'm so privileged to like have a roof over my head, like have food on the table, have me spent, because there are people who are like thugging it out and they have so much more to deal with. Like, I'm lucky and blessed that I even got a grace period. Like that has been my mentality. So this is the quick aside that like gratitude eases stress. It does. Looking on the brighter side will help you. Looking on the negative side will definitely hurt you. So being kind to yourself is not just about this like, being glowy and nice and whatever. It's also just about being real with yourself. But let's do the quick 1, 2, 3 for like a quick like takeaway from this video. So I would say being kind to yourself is about practicing self-worth. So affirmations: I'm beautifully and wonderfully made, I can do this, I'm confident, I'm smart, I'm intelligent. And anytime you have a thought, whether you vocalize it by accident or you have it in your head that's negative, counter it. Like sometimes like I'll do something dumb and I'll be like, oh, I'm so stupid, and I'll literally autocorrect be like, I'm not stupid, I made a stupid mistake. Or be like, oh, like this is stressing me out, or I feel fearful, I feel anxious. But I'll autocorrect and be like, I'm not fearful or anxious, I am just dealing with feelings, or I am dealing with feelings that are negative, such as stress and anxiety, but it doesn't define who I am or what I'm going through, you know. So positive self-talk and getting rid of negative self-talk is so important. So practicing a positive perception. And then 2 is literally what I've just been talking about. So 2, being real with yourself, like really like sitting down, because I do this thing where like my favorite creators, Layla Haman's, I guess like Lena Licks, she's good. And then also I love Charles Stanley. I was baptized a Baptist anyway. Family's Baptist, but yeah, sermons, preachers, whatever. And then just like the negative stuff or like nitty gritty stuff they need to work on, I like take notes, and I also use that as like journal prompts to like, you know, I don't know if that's called shadow work, but basically like work on what I'm supposed to work on. So a big thing that you have to do is, again, being real with yourself, looking at your flaws, looking at the areas that you are lacking in, and being like, okay, like how can I grow? Because that's part of being kind to yourself. Because if you're just self-indulgent, what does Proverbs say about drinking too much honey, drinking too much wine, being lazy, and then poverty? That, I remember, I'll put it here. But you being super indulgent with yourself in the short term is going to hurt you in the long term. So part of being kind to yourself is being real. And then 3rd, give time for rest. And I'm specifically talking, I guess, Westerners, but just like everybody in general. I feel like our generation is completely unique because, again, being super thankful and super grateful for our position and the privileges we have in our modern age, yes. But we're working at a skew. Like I saw a TikTok the other day where this girl was talking about how her mom helped her uncle look for apartments in 2008. And granted, I don't know how nice these apartments were, but we're talking about getting a 2-bedroom for $690. My college apartment that I paid for, it was like a student living apartment. It was $550, and that was like one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest thing on campus. And I slept in a bunk bed with a roommate, and they were collecting $500 for me and my room to share the room. So that's like $1,000 per room. Plus, there was a second. And then what is it? The fact that like in the 70s, if you worked like a minimum wage job, it was like maybe $700 could pay for tuition. Now tuition is like $5,000 and upwards per semester. Then like there's the housing thing. There's the fact that like housing, getting equity, getting estates is getting so much more expensive, but minimum wage is kind of like stalling behind. And then you couple in what like our parents didn't really have, social media. So you see people like driving Scats and Porsches, and they're influencers, and they're making crazy amounts of money, and you feel this internal pressure like, I have to be 10 steps ahead of where I actually am. And it's just it is. So with all that being said, there's this urge to be a workaholic and work and keep working. Granted, there's something wrong with that. Remember, I told my mom that, not my mom, I told my aunt that she shouldn't work too hard, and she's like, don't tell me that. Like, I work very hard and work very hard. But it is okay to rest. Sabbath is pretty crazy. Even God has rest. Even if it's like taking 15 minutes out of every task. Don't treat rest as a reward, because it's not a reward. It is necessary. If you don't rest, you will burn out. If you don't rest, you'll make a mistake. If you don't rest, your performance will be sloppy. Yes, it's good to be excellent. It's good to be successful, and it's good to take the hard work it takes to get to the finish line. Absolutely. Absolutely. As somebody who took a lot of shortcuts going up, it catches up to you. But work hard, but take the time you need to recuperate and rehabilitate. And if you end up burning out, if you end up getting to the point where it's like my mental health here, it's okay to take the time out, because if you don't take that time out, that might be it. So yeah, this is your time to be kind to yourself. Thank you for watching. That's great. I'm doing a house tour. Oh, this isn't the outdoor kitchen. Yeah. Those are two balconies. That's a balcony on the 3rd floor, 2nd floor. It's my aunt's room, grandma's room, other balcony, other balcony. This is my work. It's a job. I'm happy to have it. Water tanks. This is another view of the farm. So this is where I was previously. If you look really close, you can see like my little teacup. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. There's like a outdoor bathroom too, but hey. Ooh, this is Yolanda, guys. So pretty.